Hello, boys and girls. Today is an extremely special day for us fans of the Kagura project, because today Jin finally released Additional Memory, and way earlier than any of us were really expecting following the livestream on August 15th. Additional Memory took us all by surprise, and what a fantastic surprise it is for oh so many reasons. Additional Memory is another song about Ayano that takes place in a different part of the timeline than Ayano's theory of happiness, and shows a side of her character and her struggle that we really haven't seen before this. And, if in case it wasn't obvious, Ayano is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So let's waste no time and dig into the meat of Additional Memory. There's certainly plenty to talk about. Shiru is bringing her A-game once again with the presentation of this song. The song is presented with a mostly monochrome color palette that makes the reds of Ayano's scarf and eyes pop, as well as the occasional blue sky peppered here and there. The PV takes a lot of visual cues from Tome Answer, particularly in the sketchy desks in the background in the opening and ending of the song, and of course in the coloring and shading of Ayano herself. The presentation of the lyrics echoes this sentiment too, with notebook lines encasing the lyrics, much in the same way they did Tome Answer. Let's move beyond the aesthetic though and discuss the actual visual components of the song's storytelling. The entire song takes place within the Kagura days. This is clear from the bookending televisions, which have been a recursive symbol of the days throughout the entire project. Beyond that is the framing of almost every shot. In most scenes, Ayano sits, stands, or lays in a field of flowers, while above her is a ceiling of desks. Flip your view and you see the desks situated normally and Ayano falling from the sky. The flowers are connotative of death to begin with, and the fact that Ayano is perpetually falling, or at the very least in the perspective of falling, makes it clear enough that this is post-suicide and into the Kagura days. And speaking of the positioning of this song timeline-wise, this is definitely Ayano post-suicide. So that means before Manga 2, as Ayano never killed herself in that one to begin with, but before Lost Time Memory. The former is obvious enough, but to understand the latter, you need to look at the actual text of the song. The whole song is mostly a monologue that Ayano is having with herself, secluded in the loneliness of the days. That said though, the song makes some clear references to Shintaro. He appears for like half a second in the song itself, the artwork in question appearing much more clearly in the teaser for this song. But in addition to that, the final lines of both choruses are most certainly about Shintaro. Ayano laments words that she was never able to say to someone before her passing, those being "I love you." The number of people who Ayano could have felt this sort of unfulfilled gratitude for to begin with is pretty low. But coupled with the visual similarities to Tome Answer and the fact that Shintaro is actually in the goddamn song, it's pretty clear that the thing Ayano's broken up over is her long-lasting feelings for Shintaro. And this is really what Additional Memory is all about. The deconstruction and reconstruction of Ayano Tateyama. Most of the song spends its time breaking down Ayano's character, presenting her in this bitter and detached state. She sings about feeling trapped in this lifeless world, while her plans have all failed and she is, by extent, a failure. In the first verse, Ayano sings, recalling her time with Shintaro in the first scene of Lost Time Memory, to the tune of Ayano's theory of happiness. She describes herself as a coward who couldn't hold on to Shintaro's hand, even though she knew that he most certainly needed it. Throughout the first chorus, she goes on deprecating more, before once again reflecting on Shintaro, saying that she never wanted to be friends with him. Now, this is obviously not literally true, and is rather a denial of her worth as someone who could be Shintaro's friend, who deserved to be Shintaro's friend. The second verse returns us to the flipped perspective, and it isn't until the final chorus that the video flips proper, the desks on the ground and Ayano falling towards Earth. This is because it's not until the final chorus that Ayano is being true to herself again. Throughout the whole video, Ayano is rejecting herself and her actions. Her perspective is flipped. It isn't until the last chorus that she returns to her true sentiments, and as such, the perspective of the viewer can go back to the way it should be. Ayano sings of wanting to retain her feelings within this tragedy. She describes how she wanted to spend more time with Shintaro, and how even if he can't hear her or see her again, she wants him to know that she loved him. How very fitting that Ayano, who longed for her feelings to be known to someone who could never hear her, received favoring eyes, which lets one convey their feelings without words to another. As Ayano leaves the frame, we see on her desk a folded crane, none other than the very symbol of happiness that she made for Shintaro back in Tome Answer. The song ends on a TV once again, as Ayano waits for the day that Shintaro will indeed come and find her. This song is fantastic. It's not clear if the scenery and such that's shown is literally a part of Ayano's Kagura days, in the way that Kito's burning house is, or the traffic accident is. But either way, the song is a great dive into Ayano's mind, showing her weakness and her isolation. But through all that, there's also her hope. We get to see Ayano be scared and feel pain, only for her to turn that around to become the person who's ready and waiting for Shintaro at the end of Lost Time Memory. The song asks you to remember that the pain you feel from loss comes only and directly from the love that you once felt. This may be the song that doesn't reach the eyes, but even if that's the case, that will never invalidate the awkward girl's feelings as she waits for the day he might be able to hear them. Additional memory is Ayano's affirmation, her resolve to keep going in spite of herself, and it is certainly a worthy song to carry the legacy of my favorite character in fiction. Thank you.